This is Brass Check, and we're recording this on March 1st, new month, 2022. And we're happy to see that the Defender, which is the publication of Children's Health Defense, is republishing some material put out by Dr. Mark Hyman, founder of the Cleveland Clinic for Functional Medicine. And Dr. Hyman is talking about something that we've been talking about since 2020, which is the reason there have been so many, quote, COVID deaths in the United States relative to other places in the world is twofold. One, we have a horrible medical system. We are, I think, ranked 37 in the world, even though we spend 2 times more than the nearest competitor, which is Switzerland, which actually has a medical system. But the other reason people are not faring well in the United States is we have a really bad food supply. It is toxic. It is filled with garbage. It is filled with junk. It is filled with dangerous ingredients. And we've been talking about this for a decade plus at this point. There are additives and things put in American packaged food that if you did it in other countries, including China, you would go to jail. But it's legal in the United States. So let me read this article. Great to see it. I do have to say, we've been talking about this for a long time. Well, here we go. Poor diet accounted for 63% of COVID hospitalizations in the U.S., according to Dr. Mark Hyman, founder of the Cleveland Clinic for Functional Medicine. In an interview with Environmental Working Group President Ken Cook, Hyman said he's incredibly frustrated that America's response to the pandemic has been expensive, multi-trillion-dollar efforts to develop new drugs and vaccines. Almost nobody is talking about the reason why America has 5% of the world's population and at one point had 25% of the world's COVID cases and deaths. It's because of our toxic diet. There's another thing, this is a sidebar, which again we covered 2 years ago, 2020, the medical procedures used to treat, and I put that word in quotes, COVID patients, and I put that word in quotes, pretty much guaranteed a lot of people were going to die at the hands of incompetent doctors. And we'll put the link to that article, that interview, that extensive interview that we did documenting this 2 years ago. Maybe someday that will appear in a news outlet other than ours. I mean, this is crazy, folks. I shouldn't be scooping the world, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 years in advance, 24 months in advance, but it appears that's what's going on. Hyman pointed to research from the Friedman School of Nutrition, Science and Policy on the impact of comorbidities on COVID cases in adults. The study, published in early 2021 in the Journal of the American Heart Association, found nearly 2/3 of COVID hospitalizations in adults were linked to at least one pre-existing condition. Just one. We're not talking about people with multiple, just one. So obesity, hypertension, diabetes, or heart failure. One of the study's co-authors, Megan O'Hearn, wrote, quote, "Our new research on obesity, diabetes, and COVID suggests 63% of hospitalizations, I'm going to assume deaths, for COVID may have been prevented if we had a metabolically healthy population." And of course we don't. And if you are a longtime follower of the Real Food Channel, we'll put a link to that below. We have hundreds of videos on this subject, and we've been putting them out consistently even through our COVID reporting. Let me just throw one out to you right here. Folks, you got to stop eating all industrial seed oils. Cold turkey, get them out of your diet. Stop it right now. Just corn oil, soybean oil, cottonseed oil, canola oil. These are all toxic substances. And you'll have to do the research on your own, or you can go through our videos and find the it's beyond evidence. It's like saying the sky is blue. Okay, You can track the degeneration of health in a population with the introduction of industrial seed oils. We did not have them until the early 20th century, and that's when health in America started falling off the rails, and we were the first ones to adopt them. And now that we're pushing these poisons on the rest of the world, we're seeing the rest of the world develop the same suite of diseases. Okay? Industrial seed oils are not food. They're not food. They are they're not only empty calories, they are empty and destructive calories. So I'm sorry guys, potato chips and pretzels and a lot of your restaurant meals, you just got to stop. Okay, why don't we have a vitamin D mandate, asks Hyman. It should be given out free to everyone. It's super cheap and very safe. Well, that would make sense. Hyman stressed the human body is not a bunch of parts stuck together randomly. It's a dynamic, adaptive, and complex system that's constantly evolving and changing in relation to the environment, diet, environmental toxin, stress, and our thoughts and feelings, he said. In the interview, Hyman reveals 2 simple questions everybody should ask when it comes to getting their own health on track. And you can watch the interview here. Of course, they don't give it to you in this interview, but I'll put it down there so you can watch that as well. So, what's the lesson here? Make sure you pay attention to real food and/or brass check. And 2, sick people died, as they do when they are confronted with shocks to their system. And the diet, the standard American diet, which nobody, by the way, have you noticed that that's not in the news media at all? Forget about the COVID angle. When's the last time you heard about healthy eating on television? If you're still watching that garbage. When's the last time you've seen corporate sponsored social media talking about healthy eating? It doesn't exist. But you will see a lot of ads on TV for food that is literally toxic garbage. This is one of the roots of the problems here. We got, if you want to calculate the roots of the problems, number 1, allowing pharmaceutical companies to advertise. We're the only country that does it, other than poor, sad New Zealand, which is a disaster zone thanks to their rulers. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm going to say, get rid of your smartphones. Flip cell phone is good enough. And if you want to have one as a camera and a video camera, fine. Just don't carry it with you everywhere. Don't become dependent on it. And don't allow them to use it to enslave you. This is so fundamental. I may be the only person on earth talking about this, but maybe 2 years from now, Joe Rogan will do a show about it, and it'll be considered the most amazing thing anybody's ever said. Third thing is, we need to acknowledge that the corporate food system in the United States, as it spreads out throughout the world, is possibly the greatest risk to human health, other than just blatant environmental toxins. It's the killer. It is the killer. And you can take a poison and put it in a nice colored package and add some MSG to it and tickle people's taste buds with it. That doesn't prevent it from being a poison. So anyway, we'll put all these links that we've been talking about below, and I hope you'll study them, and it's hard, because the whole world is designed to make you think that, yeah, sure, have a candy bar, and sure, get a little bag of potato chips or a huge bag of potato chips, and sure, snack here and snack there. This is not normal. Let me just leave you one story. I love this. This is a group of people that live in the Amazon rainforest, and they're very tough and very sturdy, and they live long, healthy lives, and the elderly people are in pretty good shape. And one day, an anthropologist friend took them to the big city, which, population 2,000. And he bought them breakfast, and they were very grateful. They said, "Thank you very much." And then he bought them lunch, and they kind of looked at each other and said, "Oh, okay." And then he was going to buy them dinner, and they were like, "What's your problem, dude? You're eating all the time." It is not normal for human beings to sit around and graze all day long. We never did that in the gazillions of years that, you know, well, who knows how long humanity's been around, but it's been around a long time. And the idea that you could just randomly go and grab and eat some, you know, mineral deficient caloric poison, 3, 4, 5, 7, 18 times a day never existed before in humanity. And as soon as it cropped up in human history, you had an explosion of metabolic diseases. This is not a coincidence. It's not an accident. The way people eat in the United States and people that emulate the United States diet is not normal. It is not normal to feast on garbage 3 times a day with multiple snacks in between. And yet this is the norm. And it's killing people. So anyway, this is our recording for today, and check out the links below.